This episode of the BenBen Show is brought to you by it's okay. I'll protect you. I said, ooh, now, oh, shamalama ding dong, yeah. Isn't this what like Aunt Jemima is supposed to look like? What is Aunt Jemima supposed to look like? There's like a glare, I see that, but like, you got Tyra Banks and Halle Berry bleaching their skin and getting nose jobs like they're a Tutsi or a Hutu, whichever one in sect thought that the European version of themselves was better than the other because they had European characteristics superficially. That's messed up and sad. All these things that seem to be so hypocritical. And Aunt Jemima, really? I just don't understand it. Like, how do you market any like black figures in marketing? What is it? Just a stick figure? Just like it's like a blow up doll? Like that? Yes. This is no characteristics. Just like sharp angles, Euclidean lines. That's on everything. Just like kind of like that bathroom signal, you know, like men versus women. That's what they use. Because anything else, oh, that's a stereotype. Of course, in this circumstance, there's narrow nose, big lips, not really. There's nothing really stereotypical about this. I also don't know anyone that's like eating their pancakes going, yeah, fucking blacks. I fucking hate them. God, these pancakes are so good. I love Aunt Jemima. You're fucking black. It just doesn't make any sense. It's like what child sees that and goes, God, it's racist. I don't understand. Like is Mr. Clean like a condemnation of like, you know, like the everyday blue collar like helper, you know, whatever you call it, like handyman? This bald guy that's broad, you know, strong and like I don't understand it. It doesn't make any sense. Like we keep talking about racism, and that's good. We should, but we keep talking about racism in terms of race. Like we keep justifying the diversity and the most important factors of people being the most superficial characteristics. What we should be doing is condemning people who are racist and talking about how people's actions and things they do in their life are far more substantial. But we as media, people with alternative motives using derivatives of benevolent, you know, causes like the riots themselves to their own ends. Like I think there is a fundamental process going on of trying to federalize the police force, which would take votes, like the pensions of police officers would become federal. They would start to vote more liberally because their future prospects are therein. They would just play the game and take votes away from the Republicans. One of their last vestiges is the police officers, people that are in the line of duty. I know that sounds ridiculous, but it's been postulated before that that's one of the things they've tried to do in the past. And yeah, it's very disconcerting because most people, especially young people, think that like everyone is just objective, and like the federal government, like I don't know, my hair is I don't know, whatever. I think the federal government is just like they just care. They have no means and ends. They have no like wants of themselves. They never mind that the Patriot Act amendments were about to expire, were passed during a crisis that no one really could pay attention. Look at your browsing history without a warrant. It's like a live ISP open door to the feds, to the Justice Department. you know, you have like an FBI head that leaked information to a reporter friend of his during the 2016 election. Craziness of the summer. What's to stop someone from like not, some Justice Department official thinking that some presidential candidate could be the next JFK and not really be in line with the system, and want to disperse some information they know about him from his browsing history from the past, from emails they've received, and they do it anonymously, and somehow the press gets a hold of it. It's like derivative violations of due process, of privacy protections. It's like, well, we have this back door, but it would not look good if we release this information, so we're going to give it to someone else and let them do it, which is what the feds do. If you get a FISA warrant, they find out someone's drug trafficking, it has nothing to do with terrorism. They give that information to the DEA or local law enforcement people, which is fine in of itself, but it synthesizes due process and violations of privacy. They would not have had that information if it weren't for this gross violation of constitutional protections, derivatively, for seemingly, a good end. The PRISM program, all these spying programs, then you have the Justice Department officials saying, oh, well, more narrow transactions are dangerous and a threat to national security because you can't trace where the Bitcoin money or the digital coin money is going. I mean, like, it's like, how many civil liberties are we going to give up in the name of quote unquote civil rights that seemingly is not what it seems. It seems it's more a derivative using like the Nation of Islam. If you're against the Nation of Islam, you're against Islam, which is a great tactic that they used. And Louis Farrakhan and others kind of to deride and cast down dispersions against anyone that was against them. If you think Black Lives Matter is wrong, you just follow the predicate and the subject of the sentence. It means you just don't think Black Lives Matter. Like, it's very catchy. There's a black writer, I think it was an editorial at Medium, named Coleman Hughes. Coleman Hughes wrote it. He talked about how he's indifferent to Black Lives Matter. He understood like the positive aspects, but there was this dangerous, false, false, dispersion or demonstrably wrong way of like kind of manipulating statistics. So more white people die in police custody and have violent altercations with the police force than black people. Like that's a strange phenomenon, considering 7 to 10% of the U.S. population that's black men commit upwards of 56 to 60% of all violent crime. But no one reports on white people getting shot by police. The narrative about police being corrupt or needing to be retrained is not as intoxicating for clickbait and other reasons than race and racism, systemic racism. Namely because you're bifurcating a voting pool in one respect, consolidating the black vote. In the other, you're kind of giving a wide, police need to, black and white people agree, bringing them together, the police force needs to be revamped. Well, that's not good. It doesn't serve the ends of the people that are paying for protesters to go into different cities and throw bricks through walls, paying them. There's a lot of old white powerful money that's behind some of these protests that are like fake, and it's just the fact that no one wants to talk about that. George Floyd's death is absolutely vile, horrific. They want to make it as superficial as possible. It's not necessarily healthy. There's also aspects of that case involving the methamphetamine in George's system and the fentanyl, his health problems that he was experiencing prior to having a knee on his neck, and the MPD regulatory codes that allow the officer to do such a thing. The fact that he died not of asphyxiation, he died of a heart attack. And he was having heart palpitations prior. These things are important to look at. The officer definitely, based on this, looks like a piece of shit, but it's a lot better story to talk about race and racism than it is. It's self-serving and it serves the ends of people that have ulterior motives than it is to say, oh, yeah, police are corrupt, an innocent man got killed by a corrupt cop. Nah, that's not give voting blocks to the appropriate parties. You have to consolidate in an election cycle your groups, your constituency. And for Democrats, that's the black vote. Happened in 2016. They tried to do it. Didn't work. They're trying it again now. It's months away. It seems to be a lot stronger. And the kicker is, this is a huge investment. Black Lives Matter has been a massively powerful, massive investment. A lot of which has come from foreign money. It makes you wonder why. Why? Chaz or Chop, the annexed area of Seattle, sounds like a Michelin 5-star, 3-star restaurant. This is the snowball effect of self-indulgent, idealist millennials who have less than $5,000 in savings, feeling empowered and feeling like, oh, I'm part of the solution. Let me post something on my social media with a black screen. I'm helping. It's not self-flagellation. No, I'm just great. I'm just good. I'm part of the solution. It's not self-empowerment. Let's give these bunch of millennials AK-47s and make them feel good about themselves and allow for looting, while at the same time giving people going to parks because they might be spreading COVID to, asymptomatically to their fellow neighbors. But if you blow up a police car or throw a brick through a Chase bank, you're fine. Just don't go to a park and have hot dogs with your neighbors. That's inappropriate. CIA had a program called Operation Mockingbird, which is a propaganda machine between the 4 major networks when there was no cable. It's hard to parse with the clickbait in the age of the bifurcation of media. They're having to compete with YouTube and everything else with what's happening right now. It's almost like they're the means and ends of the Justice Department and the CIA, NSA, the news, and the left are all aligned. There's different reasons, but they're all aligned, and this illusion of democracy is starting to fade ever so quickly. I wonder what's next. I don't know. I don't know. It worries me. I drove a 430 Modena Ferrari the other day. This guy wanted to race me at the stop sign. He had a souped up Fast and the Furious car. And I was like, dude, I don't bring my car to a dick measuring contest. I just bring my penis. And I was going to have the opening for this with one white penis and one giant black penis and have them touch heads and just be all merry. But and that might be good for this segue, to have this giant black penis. And that's the penis I bring, not mine, because it's small and weak and white. Yeah, I don't know. It is funny how people, I always wanted to have that scenario happen where someone wants to race in one of my cars or something, and there's a cop that I see that they don't see, and I rev it up, ready to go, and just let them go, and the cop chases them down. I just don't even look, no rubbernecking, I just drive by slowly, calmly, assuredly. If you ever been to I don't know, it's so funny how many people get these exotic cars, and then you don't have the ability to let them out. You can just drive 25, 30 miles per hour. Palm Beach Island in Florida, there's so many people with ridiculously exotic cars, and they never let them out. It's almost bad for the car. It's I don't know. It's also kind of those cars are not that much fun to drive. They get uncomfortable really quickly. 2 or 3 days after you own that car, you stop caring what people think really quickly, and you have to love it for you, But you have to realize that from a third party perspective, you like let it out on the highway and you have fun with it, you look like an asshole. There's really no way to not look like an asshole. You look like a parvenu, new money, like this D-class A, or worse than that, you look like some like reckless driver punk. It's such a, I don't know. But I guess if you have like a 1968 Ferrari GT California, like Ferris Bueller says, you're good to go, man. It's classy. I don't know. Classy, classy, classy. I mean, I see one of those. It's expensive. There's this, so I check on my cat that's missing, and I have to do this. How do I do this? Here, let me bring it down. I don't think I can do that. So my cat's missing, and I'm on this lost and found pets thing on Facebook. And this woman, I randomly search through it. I see things I think are cute. I'll read them because it's sad. Pets are missing. So she wrote, urgent. I have posted multiple times about 2 Jack Russells I found. I'm still waiting on AAC and can no longer watch them until then. Either someone has to get them today and hold them until AAC can take them, or I'll have to let them go. I cannot take them with me on my work trip and cannot leave them here. And I didn't really care for that. I just thought it was, well, this is what I said. I said, Savannah, try harder. When the nursing home is late to pick up your mother, do you just roll her out to the sidewalk on the curb and walk back inside? No one liked that. Everyone hated that. But there's such like, the amount of people that lose their pets, and it's obviously I've lost mine, I'm a hypocrite. But like, what the fuck? Like, try. So what are you gonna do? If the pet place isn't gonna come up, like the kennel to get the dogs, and you can't come on the work trip and can't come with you, you're implying you're just gonna like dump them? The fuck is wrong with you? It's just like the vitriol coming my way for criticizing that in a comedic way. Like it's trying to make light of the situation. And everyone is just, it's such a, just like, it's just, there's no such thing as this like dark humor, sarcasm. It's just like, hey, like focus on yourself. Of like, oh my God, Jesus. I don't know. I was at Starbucks the other day, and this woman was like, she had a mask on, I have a mask, like the place where you like walk in, the little area they've partitioned where you can like pick up your to-go order. By the way, Starbucks charges your card $25 to use their fucking app, regardless of whether you buy like a $3 muffin or a $5 coffee. They charge your card $25, which is fucked up because they're earning interest for free, and they didn't ask your permission for that. It's in the fine print. You're not gonna read it. And they're like, oh, we just charge back your debit card, credit card, whatever, no problem. 7-10 days. I'm like, it's $25. Who cares? But it's still like, it's messed up. You're intentionally like, that's just wrong. I don't know. Especially in this time, it's like you're trying to accounts receivable, account payable. It's just, it's fucked up. Deferred revenue. I don't know. It's messed up. These little games they play. But yeah, like, just, can we have some humor? I mean, I don't know. I don't get it. I don't get it. Oh my gosh. You have that Oklahoma State player, like Hubbard, that's like mad that Jeff Gundy, is his name Jeff Gundy? Yeah, I mean, like, he wore an OAN shirt, which they kind of criticized Black Lives Matter. I just find it, the Drew Brees going back on stuff about kneeling from the flag. It's like, first of all, it's so disingenuous because we know what you really feel, and you know that you're succumbing to pressure, social pressure, and it's not so much about you changing your opinion as other people using what you had to go through as a litmus test of look how powerful we are. Don't fuck with us. We can destroy your life and destroy your livelihood. It's nothing to do with whether, oh, well, now people know that he is totally for kneeling in the flag, you know. The NFL caving in. I mean, it's so fucking insane. Like, why can't people have diverse opinions? Because, like, they conflate it to, oh, well, if you're against this, you're racist. Like, is it that simplistic? More with the fact that we don't talk about these things, or that it's some sort of, like, that should be the mainstream view, is how crazy we're getting. I was telling you about the Starbucks person, right? You know, I got off on a tangent. This woman walks in, I walk in with her, and she kind of like startled. I'm like, oh, are you all right? She's like, yeah, I just like my space. And I just like, I don't know, I thought it was rude. So I said, yeah, I know, whenever there are Jews around, I feel really uncomfortable. I felt like saying it. Because it's the same, like, they're so prejudiced against people that don't wear masks, or these arbitrary fake rule. Like, what am I supposed to do? You walk to the door first, so I just like stand outside? Like, what the fuck? It's just like, the idea of treating me as a second-class citizen for not wearing a mask is the same thing as being prejudicial because of superficial characteristic like my skin color or like whatever. Like, it's the same thing. It's the same fucking thing. It's like if I used a water fountain that wasn't for my skin tone, how dare you? You're putting us all at risk. Standing up, refusing to give up your seat in the bus, you know, like, vile. It's like that's what society does. You're supposed to do that. And it's like, if you don't do that, you're racist. I'm like, wait a minute, that's racist. Did you get it? That these new societal norms are prejudicial in and of themselves. It's bizarre that people think otherwise. It seems like anyone with an IQ of like 100, you don't have to be a genius, is just like, yeah. And I used to think that all this progressive agenda was designed primarily for consolidating millennials to vote for the left and stuff like that, because they're very idealistic. They haven't started making money yet necessarily. You know, you can bring them as a voting block of like, you know, not knowing the concept of money and savings, and like, you know, building an essay for your family and paying 40% in taxes, condemning, you know, capitalism, blah, blah, blah. I never thought it was going to go past the collegiate or university level, but it has. It's completely gone past it. Like, we're in a shit show of a it's now in corporate America. It's fucking insane. Absolutely fucking insane. It's hilarious that the Supreme Court's like, you can't fire someone for being gay or lesbian. You think that people are doing that? You think that's a thing? If they don't want to hire them, they don't hire them, so they don't have to fire them. That's what people do. It's very simple. That's not a thing. If you have a high-powered position in a law firm, or you work at Goldman Sachs and you're like homophobic, you're done. They don't tolerate that shit. The idea that, like, yes, there's racism, yes, there's bigotry, but man, the solution is bigoted in itself and very myopic, very parochial. It's like, think only one way, any other way, any deterrent, any diversion from this path is inherently evil, racist, and bigoted. I'm just like, dude, like, what the fuck? Aunt Jemima? What the fuck? It's Aunt Jemima. How is Uncle Ben racist? The maple, like, sugar or whatever, like the sugar beans. Sugar beans. Those are delicious. I don't know why he's like, what's racist about him? I don't get it. You got an uncle who makes beans, you got an aunt that makes maple syrup, they're entrepreneurs, and they're black, And they're branded in an era where that was very unlikely to happen for legitimate racial reasons. And they're saying now, well, that's racist. What's it like? What does Uncle Ben have to look like? Again, it's just like, I don't understand. The Confederate statues thing, I don't understand. Robert E. Lee was against fucking like slavery. I don't even begin to like describe the hypocrisy. Like this, ugh. Whitewash history. You should accept our faults and our failures. You shouldn't like. There aren't 12-year-old kids at a middle school crying when they go to first period because of a statue in a park. It's nonsensical. Absolutely nonsensical. I wouldn't talk like this. It's not profitable to talk like the way I'm talking. All right? It's not good for your career, if you're doing media, whatever. It's not good at all for it. I talk this way because I see something very dangerous happening. There are very powerful people that have the same skin color as me that are pushing this agenda. And it's not from an area of altruism and benevolence and just complete a-capitalistic endeavors. It is primarily for the reorganization of the United States as an authoritarian regime with all the power centralized at the Fed. You see a cycle going where the blue-collar workforce, we saw this with COVID, how we needed $600 stimulus checks and these $600 unemployment check, federal subsidies for each state's unemployment benefits, and then you had the stimulus checks because there's so many people that are paycheck to paycheck, and we're getting to an area of automation in this country where the left knows they have a huge advantage, and it's just one step towards this decay of Western society. I mean, it's awful. I don't know, man. I can't really be funny today. It's just like, I don't know.